This is Fred Razak at CM Trading. Today is October 11th, 2018, and today is Thursday morning. So major sell-offs in the markets. We'll take a look at that in just a moment, but let's see the economic news for today. 11 a.m. South African time this morning. Governor Carney will be speaking out of the United Kingdom, and then at 2:30 South African time, monthly CPI numbers coming out of the United States. Now, what happened yesterday? Okay, so two major events happened. The Dow Jones sold off over 800 points intraday. Previously to that, it sold off about 500 to 600 points. Altogether, we're looking at about, a 2,000 point sell-off from last week, okay, which is huge, all right? Really a big retracement for the Dow Jones. That's on the back that it's, raised over 10,000 points over the past 2 years, okay? So giving back 2,000 points was expected, we just didn't know when, and we got it finally over the last week. So indices around the world sold off as well. The Dow continued its sell-off earlier this morning. The DAX, the JSE also sold off. Crypto coins also had a major sell-off. So the question is what can we expect the day after? Okay, so let's take a look and see what we can anticipate. So just to appreciate what exactly happened yesterday, we're looking at a 4-hour chart, and as you can see, look at that nosedive from 26,513 down to 25,246. It looks like it's consolidating here. Let's see if it does continue the sell-off. I imagine that we'll have a sharp, short covering off of this, and just these type of scenarios really produce type of situations where there's so much volatility. The question is where's the bottom? Okay. I would actually even start to buy a little bit here in anticipation that it's going to bounce. Okay. It will be due for a bounce. The question is when? Okay. So as we've seen here, this is the second highest sell-off that we had over the past year. If we look, this is looking at February time, and now we're looking here in October time. Now, as I mentioned earlier last week, October is a sell-off month, okay? So the fact that this happened is not a big surprise, all right? We had this double top, and we've mentioned this also, that it looked like it was making this double top, okay, which is really indicative for a beginning of a bear market. Okay, so really your place to actually short this stuff was at 26,700-ish level, okay, and the anticipation was going to go down. Now that we're here, okay, we are at previous resistance level, okay, which may bring us to subsequent support right there, okay? So that's what I would actually look to actually start buying here at these levels, just a little bit, not big, but to see that it solidifies. And once I see that it solidifies, once I see the banks are, a little bit stronger, then I would look to get a little bit more aggressive. All right, that's looking at the Dow. Now looking at the DAX, same story. We had a massive sell-off off of our support level, 11,900 level. So the question is how far can we go? So if we continue selling off here and we break this 11,400-ish level, we can continue selling into the 10,000 range, okay? Now, there's a few factors of why this happens, okay? I don't want to digress too much into it. It's mostly related to the bond market. As companies, or as countries rather, are increasing their interest rates, it becomes more expensive to borrow money in longer term than it is to borrow money in short term, and there's an inverse yield, as it's called. So, this type of scenario is very indicative of this type of market where, you extend to the end of the bull market and you have a correctional move. So, again, this is part of, the markets. This is what happens. And we just have to wait for the bounce for it to go up. JSC, same story, broke that support level. We were talking about 49,435, and we're trading right now at 47,000, over 2,000 points below that. Now, the next real support level here is in the 45,000 range. So, again, if we don't get that bounce today, then we'll see some further sell-off. So, I don't like the big bottoms, but as this, kind of consolidates at these levels, I'd look for a bounce. Now, looking at the currencies rallied on this, okay? The euro got a little bit stronger at 115.61, but I would have expected it to be somewhere in the 117 level, okay? That's how important this type of move is in the index. So the fact that it's not comes to show you how dead the euro is versus the dollar, okay? It did go up from 1517 to 1560, which is 50 pips, okay? So nothing really to write home about. GBP USD did rally as well, but at this 132 level and subsequently at this resistance level. So, if we don't close above it today, we could see a retracement there as well. Now looking at the USD Swiss franc, same story. We had a little bit of a retracement, but again, I would have expected a bigger retracement here, which we're not getting. Okay, jumping into the USD Japanese yen, this is probably the biggest one that actually corrected itself, but it was already correcting itself from before. Okay, we've had this correction for quite some time, so it's really only corrected itself about 100 pips, but the larger of the Forex symbols to actually correct itself. So, and this is part of why it's a big quandary to me, because if we look at gold, guess what happened? Nothing. I would have expected gold to fly to 1240, okay? When the market sells off over 2,000 points over a week, are you kidding me? This should be in 12,500, 1200, 500, excuse me, and it's not. So it comes to show you that the markets are still very stable. It's just a question of when will they bounce and how they will bounce. The one that didn't get affected by it is obviously oil. Okay, oil sold off quite sharply yesterday from 74.63 down to 72. We had mentioned this earlier in the week that it's gonna trade within this range, between the 75 and 71ish level, and we're seeing that right now as that is consolidating at these levels. Now jumping into some of the other stops, they obviously sold off 216 here in Apple, which is the least of them. Okay, that sold off, so there's relative strength still in Apple. Okay, so this is an important level for Apple. If it does break this, we could see it further decline to the 199-ish level, okay, from 216. However, if it does bounce, then that's what we're looking for. Facebook sold off further down to 151, okay, but really I would have expected it to sell off more sharply again. This was a major sell-off yesterday. Amazon apparently was the biggest sell-off, as you could see here, from 1800-ish level down to 1860, excuse me, down to 1754, okay, which is almost a 100-point move on the downside. So, looking at across the board, there's things that are weak and the things that are weaker, okay? So just keep in mind that that's the case as the market continues to correct itself today. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.